Hello everybody and welcome back to Alumni Field here at the Wilpon Baseball Softball Complex for WCBN's broadcast of Michigan Softball. Austin Falco alongside Morris Fabry bringing you the second game of today's doubleheader, the second game of a three-game series between the Indiana Hoosiers and the Michigan Wolverines. Michigan took the day cap of this doubleheader by a score of 7-1. And Morris, it was a very impressive outing from Megan Betza, and the offense seemed to come alive a little bit against the Indiana pitching staff.
Yeah, absolutely. We saw some sparks fly. Faith Canfield left the yard. Maddie Uden, too. We had been eagerly anticipating seeing her on the field against her sister's Indiana Hoosiers, against Taylor Uden, and she came to play a two-run shot and a single. She's back out there for this one, looking to continue along with the Wolverines.
So just as she did the first game, Rebecca Blitz will lead things off for the Hoosiers here. She check swings at the first pitch she sees from Tara Blanco and misses at it. The count 0-1 now on the center fielder for Indiana. The 0-1 pitch now from Tara Blanco is lined towards right field. The right fielder, that's Natalie Peters out there, makes the grab for out number one.
Peters finding her way into the lineup after sitting out last game. She'll be hitting in the 9 spot.
Speaking of lineups, Indiana's lineup for today after Rebecca Blitz follows Gabby Jenkins stepping to the plate right now. She's the right fielder on the designated player. Karamiga Cerrigos bats third as Jenkins takes the first pitch outside for a ball. After that, the first baseman Taylor Uden bats fourth. Batting fifth is the shortstop Rachel O'Malley. Sarah Thompson plays left and bats sixth. And the 7th spot is the third baseman Katie Lacefield. Batting eighth and catching is Bella Norton. This one is fouled back behind the plate for strike one. The count 1-1 on Gabby Jenkins. And then rounding out the Indiana lineup is the second baseman Erin Lehman. They will face Tara Blanco on the mound today. Already retired the first batter she saw, making her 18th start of the year. She's 15-3 with a 2.07 ERA. The 1-1 pitch here to Jenkins is taken maybe a bit high and outside there. Bring the count to 2 balls and 1 strike. The Michigan fielding alignment slightly different than last game. It's Courtney Richardson out left, Christner in center, and Peters in right. Infield, Mana Morano and Ramirez on the left side, Canfield and Falk on the right side with Subject catching Blancos. This one is fouled back behind the plate again to bring the count to 2-2.
Your umpires on the game have rotated. Behind home plate now is Chelsea Clark. Down the first baseline is Megan Rabin. And at third base, Leah Bowen, last game's home plate ump.
As Blanco now turns in the 2-2 pitch here to Gabby Jenkins. Swung at and missed for strike 3. Blanco records her first strikeout of the game. And there are now 2 outs in the top of the first inning, bringing up Karamia Cerrigos, the designated player for Indiana today.
Blanco, not a strikeout artisan, but able to spin the ball both right to left and left to right. Can be tough to adapt to the Michigan righty.
The first pitch now to Cerrigos, taken for a strike right down the middle. Brings the count to 0-1.
And Megan Betza worked her way through the middle of that Hoosier lineup well last game, holding Cerrigos and Uden a combined 0 for 5.
Now the 0-1 pitch misses high for a ball. Evens the count up at 1 ball and 1 strike.
Taylor Uden, the junior first baseman, awaiting on deck for the Hoosiers, still wearing their bright red tops and white shorts, white pants, I guess, with red socks.
The 1-1 pitch misses high and away for a ball, 2-1. And Michigan, meanwhile, still wearing those white tops with the blue bottoms. Same uniform, so you can tell by the dirt-stained uniform of Lindsay Montemorano, as well as a little bit of dirt you can see on Tara Blanco's uniform. Both of them getting a little bit dirty in the first game of 2 here. Big swing and a miss by Cerrigos on the 2-1 pitch. Count now 2-2.
She made contact. That ball would still be flying. The flag in center field still billowing out toward left center. And the bleachers have filled here at Alumni. The fans pouring in. Looks like just about a sellout crowd, and we've just gotten underway.
Now the 2-2 pitch from Blanco. Just misses high for a ball, 3-2.
Blanco throws a little bit harder than Megan Betza. Doesn't have the same spin as the senior righty, but then again, who does? It'll still be an adaptation for the Hoosiers to make. Blanco, not quite as dominant, but still a formidable force in the circle.
We already saw Jenkins last time, maybe a bit behind Blanco when she struck out. The 3-2 pitch here to Cerrigos, misses low and in for a ball. So with 2 outs, Indiana able to get a runner on. There will be that runner on first for the first baseman, Taylor Uden.
Cerrigos, a patient hitter. 31 walks, now 32 on the season as opposed to 8 strikeouts.
Taylor Uden back in that first game, 0 for 2. Did get hit by a pitch and score the only run of the game for the Hoosiers in the top of the 7th inning. She takes the first pitch. She sees from Blanco for a strike to bring the count to no balls and 1 strike.
Uden did reach base with a hit by pitch toward the later stages.
The 0-1 pitch to her here goes off speed, but that one misses high for a ball. Evens the count up at 1-1.
That's a rare changeup from Tara Blanco. This has been really the first season where she's been stretched out and asked to take a bigger workload, and she hasn't really honed that pitch into a plus weapon.
The 1-1 pitch now fielded in the circle there by Blanco. She backhands, tosses over to Falk at first for out number 3. So despite a 2-out walk, Indiana not able to push across the run here in the top of the first through a half inning. We're still scoreless here on WCBN's broadcast of Michigan softball.
And that looked more like a calculated, practiced fielding play by Tara Blanco, just a product of landing in that PFP, that perfect fielding position. I think it's called, honed by a lot of PFP pitchers' fielding practice. Yielded the out.
A very nice play there. Almost a similar play you see at first base, scooping that ball on the short hop on the backhand. And now for Indiana, stepping into the circle is the right-hander, Emily Gooden. Gooden making her 8th start of the season. She has appeared in 25 games, though. She sits at 8-4 with a 3.63 ERA. In 81 innings of work, she has struck out 60 and walked 32. The lineup she'll face for the Wolverines looks pretty similar to the one we saw in the first game. Slight differences near the bottom of the order. The top 3 remain the same, though, with Kelly Christner, the center fielder, batting first, Abby Ramirez, the shortstop, batting second, and Faith Canfield, the second baseman, batting third. And that 4th spot is still the first baseman, Aiden Falk. In the 5th spot is Tara Blanco still. She is pitching, though, in this one. Designated player Maddie Uden gets another start here, her 4th straight start in as many games, batting 6th. Alex Subject will get the duties behind the plate here, bats 7th. Lindsay Mana Morano over at 3rd, bats 8th. And Natalie Peters finds her way into the lineup, batting 9th and playing right field.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. The lineup with Christner at the top, Uden in the DP spot has yielded a lot of runs over the past 3 games. Hutch hoping they can keep it going here against the freshman Gooden.
First pitch Christner sees here, misses high for a ball, 1-0. As you mentioned, a lot of runs over the past 3 games since Hutch has shaken up the lineup, 25 to be exact. I'm sure the Wolverines will take averaging over 8 runs a game, especially with the pitching staff they have. Second pitch to Christner, misses high in about the same spot. Bring the count to 2 balls and no strikes.
Christner 2 for 4 last game, had a rocket double to center and a Texas leaguer into shallow center.
The 2-0 pitch here, right down the heart of the plate, on the inside part there. So Christner took it, and the count now 2-1.
What do you think of putting a power bat like Christner in the leadoff spot?
It's hard to argue when the results have been there. I think if you're going to bat her towards the top of the order, maybe a 2 spot might be a little more adept, as that one is hit high and deep, foul down the right field line. Might have had home run distance if it had stayed fair, but it was hooked well foul, so the count will be even at 2-2.
Drew some oohs and ahs from the crowd.
I know the more sabermetrically inclined approach is to put your best hitter in that 2 spot. So that's what I'd be inclined to bat Christner. She bounced that one off the end of the bat. The pitcher Gooden off the mound field. But we have time being called by first base umpire Megan Rabin.
I don't know what she's calling. Is she calling a foul ball? I think she was calling a foul ball, as in that one bounced off of Christner. That's not what took place. The ball clearly bounced off the end of her bat and in the dirt in front of home plate, and the massive amount of spin that she put on it caused it to look a little weird. But I think she either got robbed of an infield hit or got saved from a bang-bang out at first.
It was going to be a close play, but we'll do it again on 2-2 now, and a swing and a miss there from Christner for strike 3. So all for naught as there's now one out in the inning and nobody on. Abby Ramirez striding to the plate.
It's a perplexing call, and it comes from an umpire down the first base line, and Megan maybe doesn't have as good of a vantage point as Leah Bowen down at third base or at behind home plate Chelsea Clark. But, you know, if you think you got the call, it's on you to go make it.
First pitch Abby Ramirez sees is slapped towards that third base side. Bobbled a bit by the pitcher Gooden, so Abby Ramirez will reach base. That slap hitter flying out of the box and flying down that first base line. Infield signal here gets the Wolverines started in the bottom of the third. One runner on, one out for base Canfield.
I got you with the spoonerism. I was going through spoonerisms of the Michigan lineup before the game, just messing around, and Keith Fanfield was a pretty good one. Paddley Needers and Blair Atonka were my personal favorites. But it is Faith Canfield.
It is Faith Canfield. That is the correct pronunciation of her name. The sophomore second baseman for the Wolverines. First pitch she sees here is at the knees for a strike. Count 0-1.
I think Ramirez would have beaten that play out even if the pitcher Gooden had fielded it cleanly. It was sort of a soft finesse slap to the right side of the circle. I think she fielded it nearly outside the circle, and Ramirez blazing speed.
The 0-1 pitch on Canfield bounces in the dirt. Nice stop made there by the freshman Norton behind the plate, so Ramirez not able to move up. And the count evened up now at 1 ball and 1 strike. So Canfield last game 1 for 2 with that line drive home run to right center field. Got out of here and had to be less than 4 seconds or so. See 1-1 pitch. Misses low. Brings the count 2-1. I admit I did not have a stopwatch out timing that one, but it sure got out of here in a hurry. Bounced off the screen in front of these stands that were empty for that first game for the most part. Now just about full. This 2-1 pitch bounced towards third. The third baseman Lacefield over to make the play. Fires to first for out number 2. Nice play made there by the third baseman Lacefield, ranging over to her left and firing over to first to retire Canfield. So 2 outs as Ramirez moves up to second with Aiden Falk stepping up to the plate.
Again, a lot of spin on that ball off of the end of the bat of Canfield, and Lacefield caught that in the palm of her mitt. It looked for a second as though it might pop out. By the time she collected herself, the only play was to first base. That one in a tough spot to get the lead runner Ramirez, who now moves to second.
So runner in scoring position, 2 down. Aiden Falk hits one high in the air towards center field. The center fielder blitz ranging back. She makes the catch right at the edge of the track for out number 3. So Aiden Falk gave it a bit of a ride there, but not quite far enough. And we're through 1 here at Alumni Field. This time we are scoreless still. You're listening to the official student radio broadcast for Michigan softball here on WCBN Sports.
Falk's hit a couple of long fly balls that have fallen short of the wall over the course of these last couple games. And it's the approach I think you want with the wind blowing out toward left center. She hit it in the right spot, just didn't quite barrel it up enough to give it the oomph needed to surmount the wall.
So those of you keeping score at home, that first inning single by Abby Ramirez changed to an error on the pitcher Gooden. So the official score not agreeing with you, Morris, that Ramirez would have beaten that ball out.
Well, it's not the first time we've clashed. I know a while back some disagreement was expressed over an infield hit that was the lone blemish on a Megan Betts scoreline. I think at that time I think the score made the right call, but my partner at the time, I believe it was Kevin Klein, might have been JP as well. Whoever it was disagreed, and we drew some dirty looks from the left side of the press box.
So it will be the shortstop, Rachel O'Malley, stepping to the plate. She takes the first pitch from Blanco at the knees for strike one.
How would you spoonerize Rachel O'Malley? Machel O'Reilly? Or does the O take precedence?
I think you do switch the M and the R there. I think the O is kind of its own separate entity. As she lines this one into right field. She's going to go for a single maybe as Peters has trouble with the ball. But O'Malley stops at first base. Peters able to keep it in the same spot. Didn't really get past her. Just kind of plopped to the ground between her legs. Nonetheless, Indiana on base here with a leadoff single in the second inning.
O'Malley was one of the Hoosiers hitters I watched take batting practice in the cages next to the left field bullpen, and her swing looked about identical there on that offering from Blanco.
The left fielder Sarah Thompson squares on the bunt, offers at it but cannot make contact, so she will go down in the count 0-1. Indiana perhaps trying to play some small ball here, just try to get on the board before the seventh inning like they did last time. They could not get anything going against Megan Betza. Blanco trying to continue that trend. The 0-1 pitch squared around again, but pulled back and taken for strike two. Count no balls and 2 strikes on the left fielder for the Hoosiers. Thompson last game came in and pinch hit for the Hoosiers, drove in the lone run on a ground out to second. She stands in there and waits the 0-2 here from Blanco. Swing and a miss for strike 3. So 2 strikeouts in as many innings now for Tara Blanco. There's 1 out here in the top of the second, bringing up the third baseman, Katie Lacefield.
Good job by Blanco battling back after an adverse start to the inning and overpowering Thompson.
Lacefield, the freshman third baseman, stands in there, and that one misses high and away for a ball, 1-0. You'll notice going from Megan Betza and Tara Blanco. Blanco much more inclined to attack the strike zone. Betza sometimes can struggle with the command, maybe pitch around hitters. That one's fouled off to the left side into the screen and eventually bounces into the Hoosier dugout. Count will go to 1-1.
Sort of a gnarly twist out by that camera well. Thankfully the dugout personnel all over it.
We will get a new softball out to Tara Blanco though, as that one is recycled back to the home plate umpire, Chelsea Clark. Blanco with that new softball throws the 1-1 pitch, and it's fouled back to the screen behind the plate to move the count to 1 ball and 2 strikes.
The lights are on here at Alumni. We heard of threats of rain potentially leading into this one, but while there are gray skies overhead, they look largely benign.
The 1-2 pitch now. Off-speed offering, bounced out towards short. Ramirez tosses to second for 1. That's all they'll get as the relay not able to be made. They do get the lead runner, O'Malley, out at second, though, on the 6-4 putout. So there's now a runner on first with 2 outs in the inning, and that'll bring up the catcher, Bella Norton.
Nice footwork there from Ramirez, surrounding that ball and fielding it sort of in the pocket at her waist so that she could field and flip to second all in one motion. A ball that had a fair amount of spin on it and could have been tricky.
The first pitch hitter Norton misses high and away for a ball, 1-0. Ramirez, one of the best we've seen come through here at Alumni Field. That left side of the infield with Ramirez and Montemorano just locked down defensively, no matter what game you're going to, what season it seems like it is. These two have been mainstays on that left side of the infield, and really the heart of the Wolverine defense. The second pitch from Blanco here misses high for a ball and runs the count to 2-0. We mentioned the freshman had one really nice at-bat against Megan Betza before absolutely being fooled by a pitch that was kind of unfair. This time she fouls a ball into the mitt of subject behind the plate. So the count 2-1 now.
A big rip ahead in the count 2-0, but Blanco put something on it. Norton couldn't find it.
Norton's 6th extra base hits of the year, one of those a home run, as she fouls this one down the left field line ahead of that one and getting it off the end of the bat. And that'll run the count to 2-2.
I'm always inclined to give a Michigan player credit before detracting from someone else, but, you know, Norton obviously not seeing the ball too well this season. She's a freshman. You got to cut her some slack.
Yeah, especially when you're behind the plate having to deal with those pitchers. And she lines this one into right field. Let's get it fair down the line. Being waved around is Lacefield. The relay throw coming home not in time. And that's going to go down as an RBI double for Bella Norton. Right on cue.
Yeah, perhaps I shouldn't have adopted a sort of patronizing tone. Norton quickly silenced whatever imaginary doubters she might have, as well as the real ones, with an RBI double. Getting the Hoosiers on the board. Good swing there with 2 strikes.
Yeah, really nice swing there, going the other way with the ball, putting it just a few feet fair down that right field line. And a great job there by Lacefield, who was on first base. It was not O'Malley. O'Malley had been thrown out. It was Lacefield that came around to score. It's the first pitch here from Blanco to Aaron Lehman. Misses for a ball.
And it looked like Peters had maybe a little trouble picking that ball out of the corner. You got to wonder if a perfect relay might have gunned down O'Malley at the plate.
That one is tapped foul on a bit of a check swing there. The account's going to even up at 1-1. The Hoosier dugout much more vocal than I think we heard at any point in the last ball game. Softball dugout's normally very vocal, but especially vocal now with their first lead of the day, first lead of the series. The 1-1 pitch misses well high for ball 2. And Blanco perhaps struggling just a bit with her command here. Even that strike on the foul ball she got missed her spot by a fair margin. Try to regroup here on the 2-1 pitch to Lehman. Goes off to with this one, but it does not get down far enough. The count will run to 3-1.
It's not a hitter you want to watch. You don't want this inning to kind of accumulate into a big one, the top of the lineup on deck for the Hoosiers.
Now the 3-1 pitch here to Lehman. This one misses high for a ball, and there are runners at first and second, and back to that top of the lineup like you just mentioned in the form of center fielder Rebecca Blitz. But first we are going to get a visit to the circle here. Looks like Coach Carol Hutchins there, striding out to the mound.
I talked to Megan Betts about a month ago about the content of circle visits. And she said when it's Jennifer Brundage out there, it's usually something mechanical that's going on. And when Hutch comes out to the circle, it's usually something mental that they're looking to address. And, you know, obviously Hutch sees something in Blanca's approach that she wants to correct. Certainly when you walk a 9-hitter and you're missing consistently, yeah, it could be one or two things, but the coach who goes out there should give you some idea as to what's wrong.
So we can assume trying to get Blanco back in the right mindset here. She cycles back to the top of the order, facing these Hoosier hitters for the second time today. We sit here with the Indiana leading 1-0 in the top of the second inning. 2 outs, 2 runners on. And Rebecca Blitz takes the first pitch of this at-bat for a ball high. The count 1-0. Montemurano in at third base with the slap hitter Blitz at the plate. And Ramirez running over towards third on the pitch. Got that wheel play on. That one is lined. Caught by Montemurano over there at third with a step into foul territory to retire the side, but not before Indiana can push across a run on an RBI double by the catcher Bella Norton. Through 1.5 here at Alumni Field. The score, Indiana 1, Michigan 0. You're listening to the official student radio broadcast of Michigan softball here on WCBN Sports.
The Hoosiers know they're not going to win this one in a slugfest, Austin. Michigan's rotation is too solid. I don't think that they can reasonably expect to score more than 4 or 5 runs even on a good day. But Michigan's against Michigan, I should say. But Michigan really tends to be feast or famine with these things. In 8 out of their 10 losses this season, they've scored either 1 or 0 run. The other 2, both 6-4 affairs against Notre Dame and South Florida early on in the year. But it seems like when Michigan doesn't have it on offense, they really, really don't have it. We saw it over the weekend when they lost 1-0 to Wisconsin. in the bottom of the 11th inning. 10 innings without a run, not something you'd expect out of a ranked softball squad against a Wisconsin team that was struggling heading into that series. We saw it earlier on against Maryland, getting shut down 2-1 in College Park. Michigan has still not lost a game at home. They tend to rally better in front of their home fans. And so I expect more of the same here, but, it's far more likely for Indiana to win this one 2-1 or 1-0 than it would be for them to win, say 7-5.
Which explains kind of what we saw earlier with Indiana more going to that small ball approach back as soon as they got a run around in that second inning. We're trying to go with that small ball approach. Ended up getting it done with an extra base hit as Tara Blanco strides to the plate to start off the bottom half of the second for Michigan. Takes the first pitch. She sees from Emily Gooden outside for a ball, 1-0.
Blanco 0 for 2 with a walk in last game.
1-0 pitch to her here. Is on the outside corner at the belt for a strike to even the count up at 1-1.
Looked like a riser, and it didn't really have the characteristic high velocity that you typically see out of rise balls.
1-1 pitch here from Gooden, misses low this time. Brings the count to 2-1.
We'll see if that's sort of a one-off thing or maybe something the Wolverines can exploit later on. Gooden giving up about a home run every 8 innings, which is a pretty high rate.
She said somewhat like the rate that we saw Megan Betza early on in her career. As that one comes across at the belt again on the outside part of the plate. Looks like maybe another rise ball there to even the count up at 2-2. Blanco standing there, average is at 255. As this one is popped foul over the press box here and out of play. The count will remain 2 balls and 2 strikes on the pitcher for the Wolverines in this one.
There was that long swing that we addressed earlier on for Blanco. Fortunately able to still get a piece and keep the at-bat alive.
The 2-2 pitch now bounces well in front of the plate. That'll run the count full 3-2.
Whatever mechanical flaws Tara Blanco may have with her swing, she's still got that eye. Already 8th in team history in career walks with 95.
3-2 pitch here, bounce towards short. The shortstop O'Malley charges, makes the play, tosses to first for out number 1. So a lengthy at bat there by Blanco is all for naught. There is now 1 out in the inning, bringing up Madison Uden.
O'Malley rushed the throw to first a little bit. Uden had to stretch a ways toward the home plate side of first base to corral that throw.
To be clear, it was Taylor Uden stretching at
Did
first
I say
base.
Maddie?
You did not say, no.
Okay, good.
You just said Uden right after I said Uden, so just figured we'd correct there with both Uden sisters relevant at this moment. As Maddie watches the first pitch bounce in there for a ball, 1-0. Of course, Maddie back in that first game, her first career home run halfway up the bleachers in right center field. Just a huge 2-run home run. Really set the tone for that ball game. She takes the second pitch, the at-bat on the outside corner for a strike, 1-1.
Yeah, you didn't think that she had that power in her, but then she left the yard.
There's the 1-1 pitch here. Fouled back behind the plate, 1-2. Morris slowly getting warmed up with these puns here.
And while that bomb might have clanged off the bleachers last game, now it would find a body out there. Those bleachers are absolutely packed.
Looks like we got a couple teams out there sitting together, all in their matching uniforms. Let's see, 1-2 pitch here to Uden. Thought about swinging, check swing, no swing. Looked like a pretty good pitch regardless, but call a ball by home plate umpire Chelsea Clark, and the count now 2-2.
I mean, if she had gotten retired, if you were in her shoes, you'd be mad you didn't get the call.
The 2-2 pitch now, swung on and missed well early on that pitch. And she set down on strikes. So there are now 2 outs here in the bottom of the second. They'll bring up the catcher, Alex Subject.
If that were you, you'd be mad you didn't hold off on that one. Oh man, I've unleashed a monster, I think.
You couldn't resist there with Madison Uden at the plate. I don't know why you subject us to these puns. See, first pitch here to Subject. In there for a strike, even though it was dropped by the catcher Norton. She was able to get the call. That one goes right down the heart of the plate. 0-1.
Subject 1 for 1. Came in as a pinch hitter last game, hit a Texas leaguer into shallow right center.
The 0-1 pitch in this at-bat is popped up on the infield. The short second baseman diving stab tried by Lehman there, and it scoots out of the glove as she hit the ground. And that'll go down as most likely the first hit of the ballgame for the Wolverines. An infield single by Alex Subject. Runner on first now with 2 outs for Lindsay Montemurano.
Lehman laid out, but was slightly errant in her efforts.
This inning is just really brought them, absolutely unleashed it. All these punts, back to back to back. And Lehman on that play looked like it probably would have been better if she waited back, had to play on a hop and fired over to first.
They had a lot of spin out. Those can be pretty tricky.
First pitch to Lindsay Montemurano is on the outside corner for a strike, 0-1.
Subject will not object, though, as it gives Michigan their first hit of the game and raises her average up to 250 on the year.
It's fun to see those averages fluctuate with limited time. A couple of hits can put you well up near the team lead as Montemurano takes another pitch in the outside corner for a strike, 0-2. Speaking of team leads, Lindsay Montemurano, one of the best eyes on the team, took a walk last game to boost her career total up to 101 as she swings and misses at strike 3 here. So a couple of strikeouts in the inning brings Emily Gooden up to 3 on the day. And Michigan, despite getting a 2-out base runner, unable to score after 2 here at Alumni Field to score Indiana 1, Michigan 0 on WCBN Sports broadcast of Michigan Softball, the official student radio broadcast for Michigan Softball.
Well, I think she correctly identified that 0-2 pitch as a strike, but unfortunately, identifying a pitch and making contact, 2 very different things. As Michigan's rally fizzles out there in the bottom of the second. If you're a Michigan fan, and I think it's safe to presume that most of our listeners are, how unsettled are you at the way this game has gone so far?
I think it's hard to get too unsettled. I mean, we saw the Michigan lineup last game. The first 2 runs of the game at the bottom of the first were on passed balls. It did take the offense about till that second time through the order really get clicking. So there is still time to put up some runs against this Indiana pitching staff. And not to mention they went against the best Indiana pitcher last game, Tara Trainer, and jumped out to a big enough lead where Indiana stashed Trainer away to see her possibly later in this one or in tomorrow's ball game. The Wolverine offense, like you said, a little bit hot and cold. If we get into maybe the 4th or 5th inning and we're still sitting at maybe a 1-0 ball game, you probably feel a lot more concerned as a Wolverine fan than you do here on the top of the 3rd. As this one is bounced towards Montemurano. She charges, double clutches, not able to make the play over at first because of that double clutch. And it'll be Gabby Jenkins on base with a leadoff single here in the top half of the 3rd inning.
Very difficult task there for Lindsay Montemurano. Always tough to field and dig it out of the glove after fielding the short hop all in one motion. Would have been a tight play. I think she would have made it had she grabbed it cleanly the first time, but Indiana on their way to another rally here in the top of the 3rd. The meat of the order coming up in Cerrigos and Uden.
Yeah, it will be Karen Cerrigo stepping to the plate. She walked her first at-bat against Blanco in the 1st. This time she bunts and fouls one off herself at the plate. Bring the count to 0-1, so very noticeable small ball effort being played here by Indiana, even with that heart of the order coming to the plate.
It's weak. I mean, I would have Cerrigo swing away 100 times out of 100 here. We'll see how it pans out. I mean, there's a reason I'm not a coach, I think.
The 0-1 pitch to Cerrigo, so a big swing on that one, and fouled back to the screen. Bring the count to 0-2. I have to agree with you there. When you got the heart of the order lined up and a chance to maybe get some extra base hits, always better than just giving away the out to move a runner up.
Regardless, Cerrigos gave Blanco a strike, and Blanco got one herself.
Now the 0-2 pitch on Cerrigos. Misses outside. Brings the count to 1-2.
Got to be wary of Jenkins' threat to take second base. Now that the bunt is off the table especially. 10 of 13 stealing bases on the season.
All right, 1-2 pitch here from Blanco. Off-speed pitch, but foul back at the plate by Cerrigos. Way to lengthen that swing a little bit. Just get a piece of that one and stay alive. The count will remain 1-2.
Alex Subject is far from flawless behind the plate, but she has got a weapon attached to that right shoulder.
See if she gets a chance to use it here. The 1-2 pitch to Cerrigos just misses off that outside corner for a ball. The count now 2-2.
Blanco and Ramirez, who was covering second habitually, both visibly dismayed at that close pitch going the way of the Hoosiers.
If there is a hitter in this ballgame that knows how to lay off one, it is Cerrigos. 32 walks on the season. She bounced this one towards short. Ramirez makes the play, but bobbles it, getting it out of the glove, and cannot toss over to second to get an out. We'll see how that one is scored, but regardless of how it's scored, Indiana now has runners at first and second to start off the inning here with no one out, and Taylor Uden stepping to the plate.
Sports are oftentimes decided in the margins, and in this case for the Wolverines, it's just the ability to transfer the ball from glove to throwing hand. While Montemurano did not rush it, just double clutched and didn't want to throw the ball away. That was a play that she probably would like to have made. And there, Abby Ramirez definitely did rush to try to cut down the speedy Jenkins in second. And with Cerrigos not having a lot of foot speed, might have even turned into a double play despite her being deep in the hole. But she went boomer bust and busted, and now maybe a situation where I would even endorse a bunt, although with Uden a hot hitter, I still don't think I would.
The first pitch to Uden here is in there for a strike. The count 0-1. That did indeed go down as an error on Abby Ramirez, just as we talked about how solid that left side of the infield is. A couple missed opportunities from each of those fielders put runners on first and second. Big swing here by Taylor Uden at the plate. Puts her down 0-2 against Tara Blanco. She blew that one past her.
On one hand, if Cerrigos laid down a bunt, it's 1 out, 1 on instead of no outs, 2 on. On the other hand, if Uden lays down a bunt, maybe it's not 0-2 count.
As that one fouled straight back to the screen behind the plate. Count will remain 0-2.
Never want to count chickens, though, as the sky does begin to darken here at Alumni. Hard to tell whether that's a sign of bad weather to come or just a sign that the day is coming to an end.
And worth noting here, pinch runner over at first, Sydney Hester for Indiana. He fouls another one back to the screen behind home plate, and count remains 0-2.
Betts has got to reach back Blanco's got to reach back and find something here.
She's able to blow one past Uden on the 0-1 pitch. They need to do it here again on 0-2. Goes off speed and does not get a chase out of Uden. Nice pitch there, but goes for ball one, the count 1-2.
I like it. She buried it down low where Uden would have had to make a fantastic swing to get solid contact. Messes with the timing a little bit.
Now a 1-2 pitch to Uden. This one was hit high on the infield. Blanco calling everyone off. She makes the grab, a step into the circle for out number 1. I believe infield fly was ruled on the play. But either way, there is 1 out and runners on first and second for Rachel O'Malley.
On balls hit that high toward the circle, oftentimes you'll see an infielder, especially in the corners, call off the pitcher. But with Blanco's extensive experience at first base, definitely someone you can trust to make that routinely.
The first pitch to O'Malley here, misses high for a ball on the off-speed 1-0. You definitely read my mind with that play. I was thinking it while it was in the air. Normally you do see one of those corner infielders call off the pitch on that one, but Blanco with that experience, of course, able to make that play with ease. This 1-0 pitch line off the glove of Montemurano in fair territory. She steps on third after she recovers and throws to first. She gets the out at third, unable to get the out at first as Falk couldn't scoop the low throw. So an eventful play there. Looked like a line drive was going to go for the out. It bounced out of Montemurano's gloves, but a great recovery there by that senior third baseman.
Yeah, a fortunate play, a savvy play. Hard to know, but the result's the same. The lead runner cut down. I have to give credit to the home plate umpire, Chelsea Clark, who put it in no uncertain terms that was a fair ball off the glove.
That'll bring up Sarah Thompson now with 2 outs in the inning. Still runners on first and second. She takes the first pitch from Blanco for a strike, 0-1.
Nice spot there. A hard breaker at the knees on the outer edge.
Now Blanco, the 0-1 pitch, rounded towards the middle. Canfield makes the play, tries to flip that second. Out at second is the call. The ball skidded out of.
Oh, this Michigan defense is trying to give the fans here a heart attack. This sellout crowd not seeing the team exhibits their top form.
Canfield did field the ball cleanly, but as she tried to, once again, the transfer from glove to hand, not quite working out. She tried the backhand flip to Ramirez. Instead, really rolled a grounder over there. Ramirez able to grab it with the bare hand just before a sliding O'Malley reached the bag. So Wolverines able to escape out of that one despite the first 2 runners reaching base. Indiana does not score, and through 2.5 here at Alumni Field, the score remains Indiana 1, Michigan 0. You're listening to the official student radio broadcast from Michigan softball here on WCBN Sports.
And that almost certainly saved a run too. Hester, the pinch runner, was thinking 2 bases as soon as contact was made. Took an emphatic turn over at third and was headed for home as the call was made. And you know, there was always going to be that hesitation as it was turned into a bang-bang play by Canfield, who would have been better served just redirecting that with her foot over to Ramirez, given how that panned out.
So the Wolverines here an extended meeting outside of the dugout between innings here, with Kara Hutchins perhaps getting on her team a bit for that defense, maybe a lack of focus and perhaps in that inning. I imagine she was not too pleased with that. The one Wolverine who did leave the huddle a bit early is the leadoff hitter in this inning, Natalie Peters. She'll get her first at-bat of the day here to lead off things in the third, followed by the top of the Wolverine order with Kelly Christen and Abby Ramirez on deck and in the hole, respectively. Peters did not see time in that first game until the very end of the ballgame when she came in as a defensive replacement in right field, getting the start here in the nightcap. As the skies darken just a little bit more here, and it smells like there might be some rain on the way. The first pitch to Natalie Peters is taken off the plate away for a ball, 1-0.
A close one. The infield in on the slap hitting Peters. Outfield shaded heavily toward the left side. Peters batting .341 on the season. The 1-0 pitch to her here is taken a bit low there. Not quite sure where it missed from our vantage point, but regardless, the count is 2 balls and no strikes on the right fielder for the Wolverines. That appears to be the blueprint for Indiana against these slappers. Just pound it low and away, force the defense, or force the hitters to slap it right into the teeth of the defensive shift. Now a 2-0 pitch to Peters, again on that outside part of the plate. This time catches that outside corner, and the count goes to 2-1. And it's worked so far. They've contained Abby Ramirez by and large. Peters didn't get to hit in that first game. But, you know, even when Ramirez got on base, it was hit right to the pitcher. 2-1 to Peters now. Check swing there, but fouled off behind the plate. Not a pitch Peters wanted to swing as that one missed high, and Kara Hutchins getting on her about that one as the count runs to 2-2. Points 2 fingers at either eye as she stares down Natalie Peters. Not hard to decipher what she's going for there. Peters, the 2-2 pitch. This one is tapped towards second. The second baseman, Lehman, makes the play in the hole. Fires over to first just in time to retire Peters for out number 1 here in the third. Nice play made by Lehman there, and there's 1 gone for Kelly Christen. God, Peters is such a burner down that first base line. I was talking to Thais Gonzalez the other day. She comes on as a pinch runner every now and then, and she admitted that Peters is probably the fastest runner on this team. She almost beat out that routine grounder. It was hits to the hole, so Lehman did have to move towards first base as Christner squares to bunt on the first pitch and pulls back. Takes it low for ball number 1. Yeah, probably the only other player I've seen with an equal propensity for beating out infield hits was probably Sierra Romero, who did it from the right side.
1-0 pitch to Christner here on the inside part of the plate for a strike, 1-1. Christner here getting her second game played on Kelly Christner Day. I don't see as many cutouts in the crowd. May have only given those out for the earlier game. Not quite sure. We've been here in the booth. This one is lined towards first and grabbed by the first baseman, Uden, for out number 2. So now 2 gone, nobody on in the inning. That'll bring up Abby Ramirez trying to get things started for the Wolverines.
Another end of the bat shot for Kelly Christner, and there really haven't been any Wolverines hitters capable of barreling up Emily Gooden so far. The second time through the lineup is a time where you'd like to see players make adjustments, but so far the Wolverines have gone quietly.
Ramirez, one of only 2 Wolverine hitters to reach base today, takes the first pitch here for a ball low. Count 1-0. Ramirez reached back in the first on a little tapper to the third base side of the circle. The error was charged to the pitcher Gooden, but Morris here thinks she would have beaten it out anyway and should have been awarded a hit.
Yeah, I think it would have been a tough enough play that I could see a home scorekeeper giving Ramirez a hit. I probably would have, but we're really splitting hairs.
The 1-0 pitch missed low again for a ball 2-0. And it was originally scored a hit before being changed to an error mid in a half inning as this one is lined towards center field. Center fielder Blitz going back on the ball, able to make the grab over the shoulder for out number 3. So probably the most well-struck ball for the Wolverines today. Finds the glove of the center fielder Blitz. The Wolverines go down 1-2-3 here in the third. Through 3 here at Alumni Field. The score remains Indiana 1, Michigan 0 on WCBN Sports broadcast of Michigan softball.
The wind that was blowing out towards center field died down during that Ramirez at bat, and that might have been the difference between extra bases and the end of the inning for the Michigan Wolverines. And Ramirez has proven obviously more adept than Natalie Peters at that power slap that can catch defenses off guard. She's got a couple of extra base hits to her name, 5 doubles on the year. And so I kind of had a feeling she might try for something like that, but in the end, Blitz is very quick in center field and was able to cover the ground.
The situation made sense. 2 outs in the inning, try to get something started, go for that power slap, like you said, get yourself into scoring position, so you only need 1 more hit in the inning to really do any damage. And Blitz was playing well in there in center. Pretty much went straight back, made a nice over-the-shoulder grab. The kind you practice between games, before the games. Executed to perfection there by Blitz. And now Katie Lacefield steps to the plate to begin things here in the 4th inning against Tara Blanco. Lacefield 0 for 1 on the day with a fielder's choice, but she has scored the only run of the game for Indiana. The first pitch here is in there for a strike, 0-1.
Lacefield, one of the few Hoosiers to record a hit against Betts last game.
The 0-1 pitch in. This is high and away for a ball. Evens things up at 1-1. We've seen Lacefield make a couple nice plays down at third base already today. One of them on a wicked hop that bounced up near her shoulder in that first game. Is the 1-1 pitch to her here from Blanco. Misses just off the outside edge for a ball, 2-1.
Part of me wonders how ready Hutch will be to yank Blanco and go back to Betsa. I don't have enough of a concept of how endurance factors into all of this, into softball as much as baseball.
So this line towards center, Kristen moves a few steps over to the right and records the out. So another hard struck ball there out to center. This one also finds a glove, this time a Wolverine glove. And the first out of the 4th is recorded here. That will bring up the catcher, Bella Norton.
Yeah, sorry for talking over you. That was a pretty nasty rip from Lacefield. Blanco lucky that it went right at the center fielder, Christner.
And the first pitch to Norton here. Misses high for a ball. Count 1-0 on the freshman catcher. A couple freshmen back-to-back in the lineup here for Indiana. Lacefield, who just laced that one out to center.
Keep trying, Austin. Keep trying.
The 1-0 pitch here to Norton. In there for a strike. It's only a matter of time before we bring out a Norton and Salt reference, I'm sure.
No, that would be going too far, man. Like, that's too much of a stretch. I have standards.
I don't know.
I don't think I have
second
standards.
game of a doubleheader. It might get long towards the end of this one. We'll see. The 1-1 pitch here hit high in the air towards left. Richardson going back. She calls off the center fielder Christner and makes the grab for out number 2. Couple well-struck balls here. Couple outs in the inning, though. And now with 2 gone and nobody on, the 9-hitter Erin Lehman steps to the plate. Lehman walked in her only plate appearance on the day back in the second. The senior second baseman for Indiana stands in there on the first pitch from Blanco. Misses high for a ball, 1-0.
Blanco, not the most convincing inning so far, but sometimes that's what you need out there in the circle. Just a couple of breaks to go your way in order to right the ship.
Blanco looking for her first 1-2-3 inning of the day. The 1-0 pitch also misses high. Bring the count to 2-0.
Yeah, we really haven't seen her spot that off-speed pitch for a strike, or at least for a well-located strike today. It's more of a get me over or bury in the dirt sort of setup pitch.
Now the 2-0 pitch from Blanco. Grounded up the middle for a base hit past a lunging glove of Blanco and a lunging glove of Abby Ramirez. So the 1-2-3 inning eludes Tara Blanco here in the 4th. There's a runner on with 2 outs. And back to the top of the Indiana order in Rebecca Blitz. But not before we get a visit to the circle here by, looks like Jennifer Brundage making her way out to the mound.
Does that mean it's mechanical now? Hard to know. Could just be that Hutch has already talked to her enough. Switching things up. See if you get different results.
Very possible there. It seems to me, like you mentioned, not quite locating that off-speed pitch. There may be something mechanical in there that's maybe throwing her off to warrant the visit from Jennifer Brundage out there.
Could be. My God, if I were ever a coach, so much of what I did would just be throwing crap at the wall and hoping it sticks.
I mean, there's sometimes you can go out and make those mechanical adjustments, but especially when you're trying to mentally get someone in the game on the mound, I don't think I'd go out there and talk anything about the game. I think it would just be completely unrelated, try to take them out for a second.
Maybe telling her about the baseball score, which was 12-5, I believe, in favor of the Rutgers Scarlet Knights at the end.
It was a big blow to the Wolverine baseball team, who are still without a K.O. Thomas, unfortunately. Now Rebecca Blitz takes the first pitch she sees from Blanco here, high for a ball.
Monty ran about 2/3 of the way down the third baseline. Looked like she might have even said something to Blitz.
Blitz there. So far 0 for 2 on the day. She flew out to right and a soft liner over to Monty in her last at-bat. As this one catches the outside corner for a strike. Count evened up now at 1-1.
It's a well-located pitch. They're down in the zone.
Now Blitz ready for the 1-1 here from Blanco. This one bounces well in front of the plate. Nice stop there by Subject to catch that one. And not allow the runner on first, Lehman, to move up anywhere. The count now 2-1.
Blanco is battling right now. She clearly doesn't have her best stuff.
Tell levering a bit on the mound there as the 2-1 pitch again bounces in the dirt. This one a little closer to home plate, maybe bouncing on the plate. But the count's going to go to 3-1. You can't quite see the Michigan bullpen here. No action from what I can tell. 3-1 pitch here to Blitz. Slap towards short. Ramirez makes the play. Fires over to first in time for out number 3. So Tara Blanco able to get out of that one despite allowing a 2-out single. We're through 3.5 here at Alumni Field. Michigan looking to get something going in the bottom half of the inning. Trailing 1-0 here against Indiana on WCBN Sports broadcast of Michigan softball.
Ramirez could ill afford to botch the transfer there. Blitz speedy down that first base line. And she didn't, that's what you expect out of Ramirez, but given the defensive flubs that characterized that third inning, it feels difficult to take these things for granted, at least for the time being. And Hutch Again, a meeting in front of the dugout. She is pointing straight at the dirt many times over. Maybe like this is our house sort of speech.
I couldn't tell you. I don't know if it's
gonna get the runs now.
I don't know if it's more of a motivational speech there, if this is a telling everybody not to chase pitchers. I don't know exactly what she's
The grounds crew has done such a great job with this dirt.
And they actually have. They have done a magnificent job all day getting this field ready for 2 games of play here, coming out between innings, of course. Raking the field, keeping it pristine. Always do a great job here at Alumni Field. I remember earlier on this season, there was a game in which it snowed earlier on that day. And when you got here to the ballpark, you would have guessed it was sunny and 70, the way they had that looking.
They always do a good job. Hutch talking animatedly with Bonnie Thole before heading out to her perch at third base. The players starting a Go Blue chant with the crowd on the Michigan first base dugout side.
And Hutch very animated all game so far in this one. She wasn't very animated in the last one that we could notice, at least so far. Really vocal as Faith Canfield bunts the first pitch she sees over towards first. The first baseman Newton picks it up and tags Canfield out on the way by for out number 1. So Canfield almost caught Indiana sleeping, but bunted it just a bit too hard there, and thus walks back to the dugout, having been retired on only 1 pitch.
The crowd looking for a reason to get into this game, but Emily Gooden has quieted these Wolverines bat. No walks, 1 hit through 3 1/3.
Trying to get the Alumni Field crowd into it, throwing free Jimmy Johns out between innings there. See if Aiden Fall can get maybe a souvenir softball out there. Right field, she takes the first pitch here for a strike, 0-1. So it's not quite a souvenir here as the balls get recycled back, but I'm sure Fall can manage to tie this one up. Whoever catches that softball will be all right with giving it back. The 0-1 pitch is in towards right center for a base hit. This one gets all the way to the wall. Falk is on her way to second. She will get in there with a stand-up double. And the Wolverines, for the second time in the ballgame today, have a runner in scoring position. This time with 1 out, and it will be Tara Blanco stepping to the plate.
I'd say it's pretty likely we see a pinch runner here as Nikki Wald goes out and talks to Bonnie Thole. She's going to assume the perch on second base. I think I've used that phrase, assume the perch, twice. Now 3 times over the course of this inning. They try to mix things up, but as you said, over the course of a doubleheader, sometimes standards start to slip.
There's creatures of habit sometimes too. It's just the way it works out. Kind of use the same phrase. I was recently told I use the phrase "what not" very often, and "what not" to end sentences. Not by one person, but several people actually.
I mean, what's not to like about that, though? See, standards dropping.
There you go. The first pitch here, Tara Blanco is on the outside corner for a strike, 0-1. As you mentioned, Nikki Wald out there at second base, representing the tying run with Michigan trailing Indiana by a score of 1-0 here in the bottom of the 4th inning. The 0-1 pitch here, Tara Blanco. Swung on and line towards short on a hop. The shortstop. Whoa, there's an uproar here. I'm not exactly sure what's going on. There is an out call made. It was Nikki Wald tagged out by the shortstop O'Malley. Carol Hutchins very animated. Not sure if she's upset with Nikki Wald for not running or upset with the first base umpire Megan Rabin here for calling the out. What had happened was Wald, as she was trying to get back to the base on the 1-hopper hit to O'Malley, stumbled, and O'Malley decided to tag her out. Appeared to have missed the tag from a worse inning, but was called out by Megan Rabin, and hence the uproar that ensued.
I mean, at that point, you might as well get into a rundown. At the very least, you might force an error, and Blanca might be, able to work her way down to second base.
So, as a result of everything that went on there would be 2 outs in the inning, and Blanco over at first base with Maddie Uden stepping to the plate, who takes the first pitch for a ball low, count 1-0.
Good reaction from O'Malley, too, to make the tag.
Yeah, the 1-0 pitch now to Uden. Again, misses low, brings the count to 2-0. Like you said, O'Malley originally looked back Wald, forced Wald to stumble back towards second. and was ready to clutch and throw to first base, assuming Wald would have gotten back safely. And as soon as Wald fell down, she alertly did not make the throw. As this one was popped up by Uden on the infield. Calling is the first baseman, Uden, who retires her sister on the pop out for out number 3. So a 1-out double is all for naught. Wolverines unable to tie this one up after 4 here at Alumni Field. The score, Indiana 1, Michigan 0. You're listening to the official student radio broadcast for Michigan softball on WCBN Sports.
So many things going on as a shortstop on that play. I'll continue to draw attention to it because you've always got that clock in your head, and while that clock might be slowed ever so slightly because Tara Blanco is not the same threat on the base paths as an Abby Ramirez or a Natalie Peters, where you've got to make your decision. Your first decision has got to be the one that you stick with. With Blanco, there's at least room to hesitate, but still everything you do out there is rushed, and you never want to take the risk that you go for a tag, miss the tag, Blanco reaches first base, and you've wasted an opportunity for an out. But O'Malley was able to pull herself from her initial play, which was to look back the runner and throw to first in time to still make the tag on Nikki Wald. And on a side note, as a pinch runner, you're brought out there to to not do that.
Yeah, just like kind of an unfortunate circumstance. Nikki Wald did do the right thing. She was starting to go back to the bag and just tripped herself up and went down face first into the dirt.
Maybe she trusted that dirt too much. Maybe the grounds crew is to blame for that one.
That's probably what it is.
We give them too much credit.
Regardless of whether that was the grounds crew's fault or not, it resulted in an out that helped contribute to the end of that 4th inning, which means we're on to the 5th here, and leading things off in the 5th for Indiana will be the right fielder, Gabby Jenkins. She taps one towards the mound, rather towards the circle. Blanco makes the play on a bare hand, but unable to make a throw as that one was hit just a little bit too soft. And Gabby Jenkins reaches for the 2nd straight time with an infield hit.
First it was Monty, now it's Blanco. That one, an impossible play. Just a perfect swinging bunt right between home plate and the rubber.
Last time Gabby Jenkins got on back in the 3rd. She was eventually forced out at 3rd. The first pitch here to Karamina Cerrigos is fouled off her front foot. She looks to be in a bit of pain there, but she will walk it off before resuming this at bat.
No shin guard, and she generates a ton of power when she makes contact, and it looked like she bailed that one up right into her left shin.
Just going to walk down the first base line. I'll walk back towards that dugout a bit. Try to shake that one off. Meanwhile, a quick game recap for you if you're just joining us. Only 1 run of the ball game scored back in the 2nd inning by Indiana on a RBI double by the catcher Bella Norton. That is just about all you need to know if you're joining us. To score 1-0 in favor of the Indiana Hoosiers. Now squaring around to bunt on that one is Cerrigos. She pulled back in time according to first base umpire Megan Rabin. So the count will be evened up at 1-1.
We saw Cerrigos square to bunt in her last plate appearance. That at bat ended up with her reaching first base on an error by the shortstop Abby Ramirez.
Cerrigos on base. Both of her prior 2 plate appearances walked back in the 1st as well. This one is bounced past Montebrano at 3rd into left field for a base hit. So just as we saw back in that 3rd inning, the first 2 runners reach base in the form of Gabby Jenkins and Karamia Cerrigos. And there are runners at 1st and 2nd. Nobody out with Taylor Uden coming up. And we'll see if it will be Tara Blanco to face Uden. Don't see any action in the bullpen, but Kara Hutchins out to the circle. Calling off the rest of the infield. She wants a one-on-one talk here with Tara Blanco.
Yeah, you can see her head moving as she talks. Animated as usual.
None too pleased, I'd imagine, so far. Despite only giving up that 1 run in the ball game, Tara Blanco definitely not her sharpest on the mound today.
Yeah, oftentimes in those conferences at the circle, you'll see the defense get involved. You'll see the catcher in there but Subject's standing about 5 steps away. She wants no part of Carol Hutchins right now in the infield, about 6 or 7 steps behind the circle. Tara Blanco on an island.
That was just Hutch and Tara Blanco there. The meeting now commences as everyone goes back to their normal spots. Not that they really had a reason to be there in the first place, given the nature of the meeting.
It was a one-on-one. Coach Carol Hutchins and the second half of the Peach and the Beach duo. Blanco out of Huntington Beach.
Now Taylor Uden squares around the bunt here. The first pitch pulls back as that one misses high. Count 1-0.
Looks like the go-to alignment will be Falk and Monty charging from the corners. Ramirez rotating over to third. Canfield over to first.
Got the old wheel play on in the event of a bunt.
But who's covering second?
The 1-0 pitch bunted, but bounced back behind the plate, foul. The count evened up at 1-1.
Looked like Uden might have been trying to get on base with that bunt there. She was, she wasn't squared and just looking to lay it down and advance the runner. She was starting on her way down toward first base as her bat made contact. Unfortunately for her, I think it sort of threw off the contact part.
Now the 1-1 Eden squares around again. This one bunted towards Monterano. She fires over to third, not in time, and not able to be fielded by Ramirez. I don't think even if she caught that one, it would have been in time to retire Jenkins, the speedy runner on second base. And thus the bases will be loaded with nobody out here in the top half of the 5th inning.
That's a mental lapse from Lindsay Montemorano. This Wolverines defense has been pretty weak. They only have 1 error against them, but several miscues that have allowed Hoosier rallies to be prolonged.
Now Rachel O'Malley steps in with a chance to do some damage. She takes the first pitch outside for a ball, 1-0. That pitch it was hit just a little too soft for Monterano to really make that play, and a lot of times it's the catcher's job to yell out where to go with the ball. Giving the infielders backs until the runners. Normally this one fouled near that third base coach's box. I believe that's head coach over there, Michelle Gardner, ducking out of the way as that one bounces off the screen in front of the Indiana dugout. Count evened up at 1-1.
Big rip from O'Malley. She's seeing the ball well today. A single and a line drive right at Montemorano on her last at bat. 2 for 3 in the first game as well.
The 1-1 pitch now misses high end away for a ball, 2-1. Definitely not the hitter you want to face right now if you're the Wolverines, and if you're Indiana, exactly the hitter you want at the plate at this very moment. Chance to tack on to their 1-0 lead. Blanco now with a big 2-1 pitch upcoming. This one's lined down the line, just foul down the line in left. And that one had bases clearing double written all over it.
Tara Blanco playing with fire.
Nonetheless, a long, perhaps a scary strike if you're a Wolverine fans, but that's all it is there. It's just a strike. The count now evened up at 2-2.
I think you got to be ready with Betza at this point. We'll see how it pans out.
A big 2-2 pitch upcoming here. This one hit high near the plate. Subject camping under it. Makes the grab with a basket catch for out number 1 in foul territory.
Why a basket catch? Why does it have to be difficult? I guess it's how she felt more comfortable. She got 2 hands on it. That's what you want, but a basket catch just doesn't inspire as much confidence as the confident backhand above your head.
As a catcher, though, running out, it might be a little more comfortable to do that basket catch, tuck it into your chest, than it is to try to catch that one overhead. And now there's some bounce back from the mound. Glove to glove from Blanco to Subject. A great play there by the pitcher to keep this game at 1-1. Gets the force out at home for out number 2.
So, I mentioned you got to have Betza ready, and then 2 pitches, 2 outs later, and Blanco on the verge of an escape act that would make Harry Houdini jealous.
The base is still loaded here, though, this time with 2 outs. Katie Lacefield steps to the plate. So far, 0 for 2. She takes the first pitch here off the plate away for a ball, 1-0. Lacefield, the only run scored so far on the ball game. Back in the second, she also lined out pretty hard to Kelly Krishner to lead off the 4th. She bats here with a 1-0 count in the 5th and fouls it back to the screen behind home plate, even things up at 1-1. The crowd starting to feel, like you said, maybe a Houdini act coming. If Blanco's able to get out of this one, I expect the Alumni Field crowd to erupt. A 1-1 pitch here. This one called a strike on the outside corner. 1 ball, 2 strikes now.
Looked like Subject might have even given a little fist pump after that one. It was a pinpoint pitch from Blanco.
A very nice frame job back there by Subject behind the plate. Not normally her strongest suit, but the 1-2 pitch out here from Blanco to Lacefield. Swung on and fouled back behind the plate. The count will remain 1-2.
A gasp, an exclamation out of the crowd. They saw the soft contact and maybe anticipated no contact on that awkward swing from Lacefield. Just sticking the bat out there, fighting to keep the rally alive.
We'll do it again here on 1-2. Blanco winds up in the pitch. This one misses high. Count goes to 2 balls and 2 strikes.
High hard breaker. Maybe Blanco a little too amped. When the adrenaline takes over in these situations, it's on the athlete to get it under control, channel it.
Here comes the 2-2. Swung on and line foul on the left field line. If that one had stayed fair, that was definitely 2, maybe 3 runs. Nonetheless, a foul ball and will go down as a strike, I guess. Count remains 2-2 though.
Monty, so fun to watch. Fouled that one and just kind of lightly skipped as though she were treading on thin ice.
Now another 2-2 pitch from Blanco. Swung on and gotten a piece of it, just barely. Did Lacefield.
She was jumping out of the way of the pitch as she swung and fouled it back off the screen. I think her feet left the ground on that swing.
All that matters is she did get a piece though and stays alive. The count's still 2-2 here. 2 outs, bases loaded in the top of the 5th. Blanco winds up, and this one bounces in the dirt for ball 3, perhaps trying to get Lacefield to chase there. She did not. The count has run full, 3-2.
I respect the confidence to go with the off-speed pitch there. Don't really agree.
Runners will be moving here on the 3-2 pitch. Here comes. Fouled off to the right side, off the netting in front of the Wolverine dugout. Count will remain full at 3-2. It looks like Aiden Falk expected the ball for a second, decides Blanco would be better off with a new one.
What a battle here from Lacefield.
Lacefield doing a fantastic job. This will be the 10th pitch of the at-bat upcoming.
You know, eventually you keep fighting them off, you're going to find a pitch to hit, or you're going to find a pitch out of the zone.
Blanco now fires, ready for another 3-2 pitch. Swing on and missed for strike 3. Tara Blanco works out of a bases loaded, nobody out jam. The Alumni Field crowd on their feet. And what an escape job there to keep this game a score of 1-0 through 4.5 innings here at Alumni Field. You are listening to WCBN Sports broadcast of Michigan softball. Thanks for tuning in here on the second half of this doubleheader. What has so far been a very exciting ball game despite the low score.
Michigan clinging to their stake in this game by a thread. Nobody more animated in the aftermath of that inning than Alex Subject. We saw her getting excited with every strike called, and now she will be stepping to the dish, an opportunity to channel her own adrenaline into a positive cause. She has one of 2 Wolverines hits on the game today. Hers, an infield blooper back in the first, probably looking for a little more solid contact against Emily Gooden, who has had an uneventful day so far, juxtaposed with Tara Blanco skating in and out of danger. Gooden, 4 innings, 2 hits, 3 strikeouts. That's it.
Gooden has been very good in the ballgame today.
Standards, Austin. Standards.
I thought that was pretty solid.
Yeah, I mean, it was good enough.
Well played there. Anyways, Alex Subject stepping to this. You mentioned she was extremely animated during that long at bat there. I noticed especially after one of these foul balls, the one that Aiden Falk had to switch softball's out on. She was out in front of the plate yelling at Tara Blanco, just shouting words of encouragement. Blanco almost ignoring her, watching the ball over at first base.
Subject's a fun person. She came off as, she was a very easy interview, I'll say that. Very open and sociable, and that's kind of what you want out of a catcher. Willingness to talk to everybody, to communicate.
We'll see if she makes it easy here for the Wolverines to start a rally at the bottom of the 5th inning. First pitch she sees, misses off the plate away for a ball, 1-0. After subject will be Lindsay Montemurano and Natalie Peters due up here in the 5th inning. As Gooden gets her sign behind the rubber, now steps on, winds up, and the 1-0 pitch. Swung on and hit high in the air, back behind the plate. The catcher Norton had a bit of trouble locating. It'll be the third baseman Racefield over near the netting, but it bounces off the netting before she can make the grab. So it will go down as a strike. The count evened up at 1-1.
Yeah, I'm glad that you saw that. I was wondering why it bounced off of her forearm, but yeah, it must have hit the netting. The catcher, Norton, got turned around the wrong way.
She didn't read that one off the bat. The wind blowing maybe a little bit right to left here. Maybe thought it popped up towards that right side. Maybe drifted off to the left. Not very strong though. Most likely just didn't see it off the bat. The 1-1 pitch to subject. High and deep towards left field. This ball is long gone. Over near the batter's eye, Ray Fisher Stadium. Alex Subject with the big fly ties this ball game up at 1-1 here in the bottom of the 5th inning.
How is that for channeling the emotion into one swing of the bat? Alex Subject ties the game. I love it, Austin.
Channels it into one swing and one trip around the bases. She's bobbing that head as she's running down that third base line, ready to get cheered on and celebrated by her teammates at home plate. What a swing up the bat there. She got one to her liking over the heart of the plate. The left fielder Jenkins took about 2 steps and just watched that one fly. What a swing out the bat there by Subject, and we've got ourselves a whole new ball game here. 1-1. Now it will be Lindsay Montemurano stepping to the plate. Takes the first pitch she sees high for a ball, 1-0.
The first real damage to Emily Gooden. Subject has more than enough enthusiasm to go around. We'll see if it can spread to the rest of this team.
And Montemurano, 1-0 pitch here, misses outside for a ball, 2-0. So unlike Monty's first at bat when she got set down on 3 pitches, able to take a couple here, and she's much more in her element when she's ahead in the count. Watching those close pitches, that one didn't miss by much off the outside corner. And the 2-0 pitch here, big swing and a miss there by Montemurano, but maybe a change up there out of the hand of Gooden, had Montemurano out in front of it, as Monty was looking to give the Wolverines the lead with that swing.
Yeah, kind of like Monty see, Monty do. No such luck.
The 2-1 pitch here misses high and away now against Monty.
That's my favorite one of the day.
As the count now sits at 3-1 on the senior third baseman for the Wolverines. She spins that bat in her hand, then looks at it, steps up to the plate, and the 3-1 pitch. Off the plate away, maybe a bit high, taken for ball 4. And Monty clapping those hands together to that Wolverine dugout as she takes her place on first base. Nobody out, runner on first with Natalie Peters.
Yeah, she stepped up to the plate, and then as soon as Gooden started her delivery, she stepped toward the back of the box, taking all the way on 3-1. And the freshman Gooden, the crack's starting to show. The Wolverines may be getting to her as Thais Gonzalez checking into the game.
And there is some action in the Indiana bullpen. Looks like Indiana head coach Michelle Gardner out of the dugout, playing with some of her, looking at playing her with her lineups there. As Thais Gonzalez comes in to pinch run, who at first base for Montemurano.
I'll tell you, Austin, I would be shocked if Peters doesn't square and lay one down. She's showing bunt already.
She is showing bunt already. Pulls back now squares again. gets a piece of it, but it bounces behind the plate. Foul. Count 0-1.
Yeah, Hutch has got to be livid.
The Wolverines unable to really execute there. Hutch, again, pointing at the eyes, thinking perhaps Peters chased one there. Unable to get that one down as Hutch now relays the signs to Thais Gonzalez over at first, as well as Natalie Peters at the plate. Peters now stands in there. The slap hitter on the left-handed batter's box squares around, pulls back, now swings and fouls this one into the stands on the third base side. That one clangs without hitting anyone's hands there. The count goes to 0-2 now.
That's Hutch. She'll switch it up pitch by pitch. Hasn't led to the ideal outcome so far, but you know, I gotta respect it.
Peters 3 extra base hits on the year, so perhaps maybe gonna try to slug one past one of these creeping infielders and outfielders for Indiana as she takes that one low for a ball, brings the count to 1-2.
The thing about bunting, though, if you mess up that first time, you're in a hole for basically the rest of the at-bat.
Indiana here, the left side of the infield, Lacefield and O'Malley both charging hard as soon as the pitch is thrown. The left fielder Jenkins also charging hard as it's thrown. As this one's hit deep towards center field, the center fielder Blitz sprints back in towards that left center field gap. And is able to make the grab for out number 1. Peters maybe going with that slug slap hit there. Unable to put it over the head of Blitz. The speedy center fielder was able to track it down. 1 out, runner on first for the top of the Wolverine order, and Kelly Christian.
There's some more power slapping out of the Wolverines, but Rebecca Blitz more than equal to the task in center.
Kirshner stands in 0 for 2 in this ball game. She takes the first pitch here in the dirt for a ball. Nice stop there by the freshman catcher Norton. Grant Gonzalez from moving up into scoring position. The count 1-0.
Gonzalez maybe not the ideal candidate to send in a tie ball game, but you know, Norton's still a freshman. We haven't seen the Wolverines test that arm yet.
The 1-0 pitch here to the senior Christner. This one again bounces low in the dirt. Another nice stop there by Norton behind the plate. Count runs to 2-0.
On the other hand, you might not want to take the bat out of the hands of Kelly Christner, not even for one pitch, especially on her day.
It is Kelly Christner day here. She went 2 for 4 in the first ball game. Scored the first run of the game. The 2-0 pitch now off the end of the bat here, off towards second. Second baseman Lehman flips to second for the 1 out. The relay throw not made as it was hit just a little bit too softly. But Indiana does retire the lead runner, and there'll be a runner on first with 2 outs now, with Abby Ramirez stepping to the plate.
Christner does lead the team in stolen base attempts and is tied for the lead in stolen bases. Am I making my preferences clear enough here?
With 2 outs here, Abby Ramirez on the plate. I think it's a very reasonable situation. The infield looking for that slap hit. Maybe playing in a bit as Christner goes on the pitch. Ramirez swings and misses, but Christner is in there safely with a stolen base. So right on cue, this is Morris is calling for it. Christner swipes second, takes the team lead in stolen bases, her 14th on the season, on her 18th attempt. And Abby Ramirez down in the count 0-1, but with a chance to put the Wolverines ahead here if she can find a hole somewhere. The 0-1 pitch to Ramirez. Taken just a bit low there, maybe a bit outside. Evens the count up at 1 ball and 1 strike.
The outfield farther back against Ramirez than they were against the slapper Peters. I mean, she just showcased last time she was up why they have to respect the power.
This one is slapped to the screen behind home plate for strike number 2. The count now 1-2 on Ramirez. Yeah, as you mentioned, Ramirez lining out to center field her last at-bat on a hard hit ball that was tracked down by Blitz. Blitz doing a really nice job out there in center field so far today, tracking down some balls that look to be hits off the bat. This time Ramirez just barely gets a piece of one that was a bit high and out of the zone. Count will remain 1-2.
Ramirez not an ideal RBI candidate, but Christner's got wheels. You got to imagine Hutch will at least be thinking about testing this Hoosier outfield on any base hit to the outfield.
As you mentioned, playing back, so a ground ball through the infield could bring home the run. This one is taken low for a ball. by Ramirez, and evens the count up at 2-2.
Faith Canfield 0 for 2 on the game, but I don't think there's anyone you'd rather have on deck if you're the Michigan Wolverines. At the same time, you get her leading off next inning, and that's an RBI threat sort of neutralized.
2-2 now here, grounded towards the middle. The second baseman, Lehman, makes the play, fires to first, and gets Ramirez by about a half step. Nice lateral movement there showed by Lehman to record the third out of the inning. But Michigan in the bottom of the fifth, able to tie things up on a leadoff home run by Alex Subject after 5 innings here at Alumni Field. The score, Indiana 1, Michigan 1. You're listening to the official student radio broadcast of Michigan softball here on WCBN Sports.
Tara Blanco back out there in the circle. I was basically campaigning for her removal from the game when she got into that bases loaded jam. She was a ball away from making it a 2-run game, and given the way the Wolverines offense had performed up to that point, might even put it out of reach. But she worked her way out of it, and she's earned the right to continue in this game. She'll be facing the bottom of the Hoosiers order in Norton, Lehman, and then Blitz at the top. And this is, strangely enough, an area that's given her some trouble, though maybe not that strangely, as she's been in and out of trouble in pretty much every inning. 5 innings, 6 hits, 2 walks, only 1 earned run.
Yeah, Blanco yet to record a 1-2-3 inning yet in this ball game. The closest she came was back in the first when she had a 2-out walk, and back in the fourth when she gave up a 2-out single. After that long inning last inning, as you mentioned, got into the bases loaded no-out jam before getting a couple of fielder's choices, including one in which, or rather, she had a pop-out in foul territory, then a fielder's choice, which made a brilliant glove-to-glove toss to the catcher Subject at the plate, and then getting out with a big strikeout, only her second strikeout, or rather third strikeout on the day. And that will be Bella Norton coming to the plate. Norton so far with the RBI double, the only run driven in by Indiana hitters in this ballgame. This time she lines one in towards right center for a base hit. Peters over to make the play. So Norton not able to get in a scoring position, but another hard hit ball there by the freshman catcher as Indiana started off here in the 6th inning. Runner on first, no one out for Aaron Lehman.
Business as usual for the Hoosiers. They've been putting good swings on the ball, at least until they've had runners in scoring position. On the game, 0 for 7 are the Hoosiers with runners in scoring position.
And the Hoosiers, so far the 4th time they've had a leadoff single in 6 innings. And we will get a pinch runner over at first base, replacing Norton there. It is the sophomore Sarah Galovich. Aaron Lehman now steps to the plate. She squares on a bunt, but misses with the bunt attempt for strike 1.
Just stabbed at it there. A lot of fundamentally unsound bunting occurring in this game, but at the same time, the difficulty has to be ratcheted up by just the proximity of the rubber to home plate.
The 0-1 pitch now stabbed at again on the bunt attempt by Lehman, unable to come up with anything. The count will move to 0-2. As you mentioned, not exactly a bunting clinic really all day today. We saw maybe Gabby Jenkins in that first game able to get a couple brilliant bunts down, but that's really it. The 0-2 pitch here, bounced towards third. Monterano makes the play, a step into fair territory, fires over to second to record the lead out. Heads up play there by Lindsay Monterano, grabbing that ball before it got into foul territory. A bit dangerous there, but
yeah, you're not kidding.
Able to record the out.
And then the throw to second, too, instead of first base to cut down the lead runner by about a half step. If she erred in the throw, in the transfer, and it was a tough transfer because the ball was up, around her belt, almost handcuffed her. There would have been issues, but Monty confident in her abilities.
Even with that little bit of a hiccup early, able to recover here defensively, make that play for the first out of the inning. And there's a runner on first with 1 out. There's a bunt laid down here by the by the leadoff hitter Rebecca Blitz, fielded by Falk over at first. She spins and fires to Canfield, covering the bag for out number 2. Textbook play there by the right side of the Wolverine infield this time. Falk charging, scooping with that right hand and tossing over with the left to Canfield, who sprinted over to cover. But a runner in scoring position now with 2 outs for Gabby Jenkins.
Textbook play from Falk to Canfield there. Almost a textbook bunt from Blitz, but just a little too hard. Didn't give her the time to beat it out.
Now Jenkins takes the first pitch at the belt there, I guess. Looked a bit high from up here.
It was that changeup from Tara Blanco that has been really a sort of a blah pitch today. A get-me-over offering, and finally she got it over.
So 0-1 the count on Gabby Jenkins now. She sprints out of that box as a slap hitter and takes another pitch for another strike. 0-2 the count.
Michigan at a bit of an advantage with a runner on second and 2 outs. The outfield able to play in. It'll be a little easier to cut down the runner at the plate on a shot to the outfield. They've got some good arms out there too.
He's off the base! Come on!
And called out at second as Lehman came off the base too early in Blanco's delivery. She will just walk straight back to the dugout, much to the chagrin of the Indiana coaching staff. So Indiana works themselves out of the jam here, it seems. A poor base running mistake there. And that is the 3rd out of the inning. Headed to the bottom of the 6th.
Might have heard a very angry Michigan fan over the ambient mics. She's off the base, come on! Thank you. She was very obviously off the base. Had to be a visual issue, like maybe she thought Blanco had embarked on her rotation or something like that, because she was, it was not even like she was trying to steal a base. She just left for basically no reason.
I'm not quite sure how to score that as I'm keeping score here, but
like a caught stealing, more or less.
I guess you could technically call that a 1-2-3 inning from Blanco. She faced 3 batters and got 3 outs. Started to face a 4th, but doesn't go down as the official at bat.
I'm not going to call it a 1-2-3 inning.
I don't think I'm necessarily going to call that either, but because of the first or the single and the fielder's choice. But nonetheless, unable to push across the run is Indiana through 5.5. The score still remains 1-1 between Indiana and Michigan here at Alumni Field. Thank you for tuning into WCBN Sports coverage of Michigan softball this evening. Whether you tuned in for both halves of this doubleheader or just tuning in tonight, always thankful for your listenership. And if you enjoy what we're throwing out here, make sure to tune in to tomorrow's ball game. It looks like there may be a threat of rain, but should that game get started, it's scheduled for a 3 p.m. Eastern start. It will be Morris Stabby here on the call, along with Jeremy Parks. Unfortunately, you won't be able to hear my golden pipes tomorrow, but JP, a more than worthy replacement, I'd say.
You'll be with us in spirit.
Of course, as Faith Canfield leads off the inning here and takes the first pitch she sees low and away for a ball, 1-0. Canfield so far on the day 0 for 2. The 1-0 pitch to her, hit high in the air. It's going to stay on the infield though as O'Malley calls off the rest of the infield. The shortstop makes the grab for out number 1. For the second time today that Canfield, or the third time today, Canfield has failed to put the ball out of the infield in this ball game. Hop out to short is the first out of the inning here on the bottom of the 6th. That will bring up Aiden Falk. Falk in her last at-bat hit a double that was able to make its way out to the wall. One of 3 Wolverine hits on the day as she takes the first pitch here low for a ball, 1-0.
She's been hitting balls out to the, hitting the ball hard, seeing it well, and getting it out to the track all game. The wind has totally died down, but it seems like a matter of time before she really squares one up.
1-0 pitch here to Falk. Taken over the heart of the plate for a strike, 1-1.
Good spot at the knees there, Falk. Ahead in the count 1-0, could afford to take it.
Yeah, really, when you're a hitter, as long as you don't have 2 strikes on you, you have that luxury of looking for that pitch you want to drive. So this one is driven deep towards center field. The center field blitz back near the wall. Gone! Solo home run, Aiden Falk over the wall, left center. And with a couple of solo home runs in the last 2 innings, Michigan has now taken a 2-1 lead over Indiana.
She's been hitting the ball to the track. She's been seeing the ball well all day. It was only a matter of time before she really connected with one, and she really connected with that one. more of a fly ball than the kind of rocket you would that would be a no doubt. There was a question there as Blitz looked like she had a beat on it for a while, but just enough to get over that left center field fence as it's thrown back onto the field of play. No souvenirs out of that one.
A great shot there by Aiden Falk, showing off that opposite field power that she's displayed throughout her time in Ann Arbor. Gives the Wolverines the lead here in the bottom of the sixth. And Tara Blanco stepping to the plate, now in line for the win. He takes the first pitch off the plate away for a ball, 1-0. Yeah, Falk's not quite as far as we saw Subjects, but as long as it clears that wall, that'll get the job done. And now the 1-0 here to Tara Blanco. Big swing there, trying to make it 3-1, but fouled back to the netting behind home plate. Evens the count up at 1 ball and 1 strike.
As long as it gets over that wall, it looks the same as if it landed on home plate at Ray Fisher.
Yeah, exactly.
Speaking of Ray Fisher, Blanco still the hardest hit home run I've ever seen at this ballpark. 2 years ago, she hit one onto the fish.
1-1 pitch fouled back to the screen here by Blanco. Another hard swing there. Count 1 ball and 2 strikes.
And I think that was the only ball that I've seen hit onto Ray Fisher Stadium on the fly from the softball field.
I believe it was Kevin Klein said he was here one game. Earlier this season, it was maybe Katie Alexander, if I remember the name correctly, hit one to the batter's eye out there.
Oh yeah, she crushed that one. That was a noteworthy one as well.
This one is lined up the middle into center field for a base hit. So right on cue, talking about hard hit balls off the bat of Tara Blanco. She delivers one there. And there's a runner on first with 1 out, bringing up Maddie Uden.
Solid contact with 2 strikes. It was an off-speed pitch, ducking low, and I thought out of the zone. Blanco just kind of lunged at it. But when you generate as much power as she does with even a bad swing of the bat, you know, you can barrel it up and get on base.
On the topic of barreling balls up, we saw Maddie Uden in the first year of the doubleheader really barrel one up, put it halfway up the stands in right center field. If she could do something similar here, the Wolverines would be more than happy to take the insurance runs. But Maddie's going to have to do it against a new Indiana pitcher as the day is done for Emily Gooden. Her line not quite finished as she's responsible for Blanco over at first base. We'll get that line for you whenever she finishes up.
Yeah, Gardner, the Indiana coach, really insistent on getting out there before the first pitch was thrown to Maddie Uden, tossing her clipboard to the dirt in front of the bench for an assistant coach to handle.
We mentioned Michelle Gardner. I mentioned it just before you came here back in the first game. A Michigan alum back in 1989. Appropriate, she's visiting here on graduation weekend. As we will get a pitching change. It's going to be Tara Trainer, who we saw back in the first game of this one, coming in to relieve. Trainer back in that first game. If my hand-kept stats are correct, she only lasted 2 2/3 innings, gave up 4 runs, 2 of them earned. And it looks like on the season that boosts her ERA up to 3.08.
Well, Maddie Uden has seen a pitching change in front of her once today, and we all know how that ended. We've referenced it every at-bat she's had since.
The second pitch she saw in that game after a pitching change was deposited into those right center field seats. That was not against Tara Trainer, though. Against Tara Trainer back in the first game of this one. Maddie struck out swinging on 5 pitches. She wasn't quite able to keep up with the high rise balls being thrown by Trainer in the one at-bat we saw earlier today. Which made it a bit interesting when Indiana's coaching staff opted to take Trainer out before facing Uden. The Trainer getting another shot here as Uden thinks about swinging, but thinks better of it as that one misses high for a ball, 1-0.
Trainer's got more gas than Gooden does.
That's evident from the first pitch.
Yeah, she is the best pitcher in this rotation. Gooden, though, performed admirably.
1-0 pitch is swung at very late there by Uden. Brings the count to 1-1.
Could feel the breeze from that one up here.
It's Tara Blanco over there at first base. Single with 2 outs here in the 6th. Or rather, single with 1 out here in the 6th. It's the 1-1 pitch is taken outside for a ball by Maddie Uden. Count 2-1.
Blitz playing straight away in center field, but the corner outfielders maybe shading Uden to pull ever so slightly. Plenty of space down that left field line, although Jenkins appears to be heading over that way.
Uden rounds this one towards second. The second baseman, Lehman, makes the play over to first. Had to deal with Tara Blanco running right in front of her in her field of vision. Might have had a shot at Blanco at second, but opted to go with the safe play and retire Uden at first. So there's 2 outs here and runner on second. That'll bring up the catcher, Alex Subject.
She's due for an out, isn't she? 3 for 3 on the day. 2 singles and a solo shot that tied the game at the bottom of the 5th. You gotta imagine, the adrenaline's faded, right?
The first pitch she sees here from Trainer. Catches the outside corner for a strike, 0-1. This is Subject's first look at Trainer on the day. Didn't get a shot to face her in that first game. And now is the second batter Trainer faces here in the second game. The 0-1 pitch, thought about swinging there, but held up. Count's going to go to 1-1 now as that one missed a bit high. 2 outs here, runner on second base. Subject, like we mentioned, 2 for 2 on the day, 2 for 2 in the game, 3 for 3 on the day. The 1-1 pitch here, swung at and fouled back to the netting behind home plate. Going to bring the count to 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Subject's average now up to 263 on the season. She hit 268 on the season last year, so it would kind of appear as though no progress has been made, but much of Subject's improvement has come toward the latter half of this year, whereas last year she was largely benched for the second half.
1-2 pitch, swung on and missed for strike 3. Blew it right past Subject. Did tear a Trainer, and that will retire the side. But in the 6th inning, Michigan gets a big go-ahead solo home run from Aiden Falk. We will head to the 7th. Michigan looking to sweep this doubleheader from the Hoosiers, leading 2-1. You're listening to the official student radio broadcast for Michigan softball here on WCBN Sports.
So now this pitcher's duel has turned into a pair of Taras. Tara Blanco looking to be the better of the two, heading out for the top of the 7th. Somehow has only given up 1 run over 6 innings. Never mind. Tara Blanco's done. Allow me to reintroduce Megan Betza back into the game, or back into the circle today after throwing a complete game 1-run affair in round 1. She's here to close this one off and get what would be her 14th save of her career.
Looking up stats between the games here. Relevant because earlier on in the first game of this doubleheader, Megan Betza capturing 3rd on the Wolverine strikeouts in a season list. Striking out 8 batters, right? I'm not going to list them all out there. Striking out 8 batters to put her total up to 342 on the season, with a chance to add up to 3 more here, provided this game does not go into extras. And here in the top half of the 7th inning, she will face Gabby Jenkins, Kara Mia Cerrigos, and Taylor Uden.
The heart of the order, and I think Hutch has to breathe a sigh of relief that she was able to stretch Blanco out this long.
And Blanco didn't have her best stuff, but as she mentioned, able to get through it, only allowing 1 run. Worked out of several jams. As the first pitch here from Blanco to Jenkins misses outside and low for a ball, 1-0.
We'll see if Betza can immediately zero in on the strike zone. I have to say, in the relief appearances that I've seen over the years, it usually takes her a few batters to hone in.
The 1-0 pitch here from Betza. Bunted foul near the on-deck circle. Subject gave chase, not able to get there in time. The count will even up at 1-1. I'm not sure if Gabby Jenkins should be happy or not so much. On one hand, she gets out of an 0-2 hole that she was in back in the 6th. On the other hand, she has to face Megan Betza now. The 1-1 pitch from Betza here. Taken on the outside corner for a strike, 1-2. Jenkins back in that first game was 0 for 2 against Betza with a strikeout. Unable to reach base, or rather, she reached base once. The one time she was at the plate, did not record an out, was the sacrifice bunt. This time she takes one just off the plate away for ball 2. The Wolverine crowd very vocal in their displeasure about that call.
Betza used to be a more demonstrative pitcher in the circle than she is now. She's been able to tone down the body language, tone down the way emotions can detract from her game, but give a little leg kick.
Yeah. The 2-2 swung at and missed in the dirt. Subject picks up, fires on the first for out number 1. So Betza comes in and gets a strikeout here to start things in the 7th. 1 gone, and that will bring up Caramillo Cerrigos.
Austin, I'm wrong more often than I'm right. I still like making predictions, like trying to get inside the heads of these players. And if I'm Caramillo Cerrigos, I'm thinking about one thing. And it's got 200 or 222 written all over it, depending on where she's aiming.
The first pitch you see here from Betza is in there for a strike on the outside corner. 0-1, and it'll be hard to put one over the wall if Betza's able to locate on that outside corner, stay away from the power of Cerrigos there. The 0-1 pitch now. Big swing there. Aiming for those fences. Pulled the head way out and able to get a piece of it as she fouled that one back to the screen.
You saw the uppercut. Dropping that back shoulder. Trying to launch that one into the clouds.
Yeah, the uppercut swing was there. Like I said, that back shoulder drop. That head flung way out. Kind of lucky she made contact with that one.
And Michelle Gardner is giving her a word or two of advice.
It looked to me like Cerrigos actually initiated that. She looked down and called Michelle Gardner over. Not sure if maybe she's asking Michelle Gardner, should I just go ahead and take another big hack here and hope Betza makes a mistake, or should I go into get on base mode? Cerrigos not very strikeout prone, only 8 on the season. It's the 0-2 pitch, swing on and miss for strike 3.
Make it 9.
Make it 9 strikeouts on the season now. Megan Betza sets down the first 2 batters she faces here in the 7th on strikes. And now 1 out away from capturing the W. Here are the Wolverines. It will be up to Taylor Uden to try to keep the Indiana Hoosier hopes alive. First pitch here from Betza to Uden. Bounces in the dirt for ball 1.
Her sister has already made an impact on this day. Uden, however, 0 for 4. Got a sacrifice in both games, a sacrifice and a hit by pitch.
The 1-0 pitch. On the outside corner for a strike, 1-1. Betza now dialed in, trying to pound that outside corner. We saw her able to do so against Cerrigos, doing the same thing here against Taylor Uden. And the 1-1 pitch. Swung on, popped up on the infield. Ramirez calls everyone off and makes the grab for out number 3. And that'll do it. Michigan wins. They sweep the doubleheader here today at Alumni Field. This one by a score of 2-1. And really just an outstanding job in the circle, working out of jams by Tara Blanco, and of course Megan Betza shutting the door here in the 7th.
Michigan did not have their best bats today. Tara Blanco did not have their best stuff in the circle today. But all it took was 2 swings of the bat. Aiden Falk, Alex Subject, both coming up huge for the Wolverines. Tara Blanco escaping in that time of need, just keeping the Wolverines in it for the power bats to come through and win it. An encouraging performance today for the Wolverines. 4 home runs in 2 games. You know, it's not an explosion, but it's certainly encouraging if it's a sign of things to come.
The final line score for you here. Indiana scored 1 run on 7 hits and 1 error. Michigan 2 runs on 5 hits and an error. Michigan wins this one by a score of 2-1. The winning pitcher on the day, Tara Blanco, able to get out with the win despite really being outmatched or outdueled rather by her counterpart. Her record goes to 16-3 on the year. Emily Gooden, who was extremely good for a large part of the ballgame today, will take the loss. Her record drops down to 8-5. And Megan Betza records the save, as you mentioned, her 14th of her Wolverine career. That will do it for us here at Alumni Field. Thank you for tuning in today to WCBN Sports Broadcast. Make sure to tune in to the third game of this three-game series tomorrow at 3 o'clock Eastern Time. Michigan will be going for a sweep over Indiana, looking to keep their perfect home record alive. But for tonight, I'm Austin Felco for Morris Fabry and everyone here at WCBN Sports. We thank you for listening and leave you with a good night and a Go Blue.